I get a lot of questions because of my channel's birth and history, and because of my own preferences. I like bass. I like good bass. EX1000s don't have bass, but those are really for reference and enjoying music in the way it was originally intended, which I love to do. But I love my bass. Finding stuff with good bass that doesn't blow up the whole response curve is not easy, actually. And I put this in. I listened to it. This is Ventral Electronics, and the name I will put in the title. I'm not sure. Specs, I don't know. Judging by the size, I'd say it's at least a 10 millimeter dynamic, and judging by the graph, it looks like it's probably just a dynamic, maybe dual, but like the dual diaphragm type stuff. But I don't hear a BA. It just sounds like a dynamic, so I honestly don't know. Violent Femmes, same track as yesterday, Blister in the Sun. Sounded like the vocalist stepped 2 steps back and the bassist stepped 2 steps forward. I could still hear the vocalist just fine, but the bass was more pronounced, and the loose pulls on the loose strings were just louder. But they sounded good. The bassist sounded good. So I thought these are bass tuned pretty well, and the vocals are back, but some sets are supposed to be relaxed tuned, and forward vocals are definitely not relaxing, so they're going to be recessed to certain levels. This was not bad, and there was nothing in the treble that was stimulating me to think, oh, this is a V. Actually quite the opposite, so I became quite interested to go ahead and graph it, and I went and ahead and I did that. You're looking at an elevated bass, which is good because that is what bass head looks like. You're looking at 500 hertz right here, so the termination of the bass and the influence of it ends at 500, and the mids start at about 330, pretty much a little bit later. So the mids are not, they're recessed, but not that bad. If I had a choice between this or that set that I showed you, which had the, God, I can't remember which set that was, but it had a bass, maybe that was the HQ12s. It had a bass hump that went all the way and then terminated at about 2 kilohertz, which is here. Where treble is usually starting to take its elevation is where the bass was actually terminating on the HQ12s. That's just ridiculous. That's bass bleed. That's non-mids, actually. That's forward mids. This is the vocals are obviously, the fundamental part of it's obviously going to be slightly recessed, but this treble area, that's not bad at all. And it's got recessed, but I'm starting to discover as I do graphs that I kind of like this, because a full roll-off, like the Harman curve, which I don't like by like rule of God. I think it's got a good idea as far as the tuning around here and also the bass, but just falling right up. It's raining out, so sorry. Good mic, sometimes bad when it's raining. This is not bad at all. 8K is, you're not going to get any piercing stuff. You're not going to get any sibilance whatsoever right here. You are going to get decent, the harmonic part of the vocals and other parts of the response. This is a good area to be elevated, and this is a good area to start dropping. So this is not bad tuning. And when I was listening to this, I was thinking, the bassist is forward, but the vocals are not killed. They're not killed because the bass is gone by the time the vocals are really coming in. The meat of the vocals are in this area right here. So where's 330? There's 250, 330's right about here. No, that's slightly recessed. This would be actually L-shaped in my book, not U-shaped, L-shaped, because the highest point is the bass. Treble is almost rolled off, so you're not getting any of the fatiguing sound. If you wanted a set for long-term listening and liked your bass, it would look like this and would sound like this. So I'm going to put a check mark next to this. After not doing check marks for quite a while, I'm starting to put them up, because it's stuff that, would I buy this for $20? You fucking damn right I would. It is so hard to find a good beater in price, like if I sat on them, This, actually, sitting on these, you wouldn't do anything except hurt your ass. Something that plays music, gives me enough detail not to feel like I'm listening to a ghetto, something that comes with a newer phone, and some of those are good, but some of them suck ass. So built strong. It's got a good tuning. I actually like this. This is not audiophile tuning, but we're not all audiophiles, and sometimes we're in the mood just to have fun. This has got a good bass, and that bass critically is where it is, peaking where it is. Let me see if I can get this out of the way. That is where I would put my bass. It would be coming in elevated, and it would be peaking and then dropping after 65, 70 hertz, and it's exactly what it's doing. So if I were to design a bassy set, that's my bass line. I would do pretty much the same thing. I've been doing this for years, man, and looking at graphs about bass as a bass head when I first started this channel, and that would be pretty much what I would do. And I would either want to compensate by elevated treble, which would give me a V, but I would get the detail, or I'd just go for the full relaxed set, which would be like the N3 APs. So this is not dark, but it's kind of, in a way, which means it's got a relaxed playback. So 6 minutes in, do I wreck it? Yeah, it's $20, man. $20 fucking dollars. I'd say this is the king of the $20 stuff. I don't want I've never heard anything in the $20 range that competes with stuff in the hundreds as far as detail and resolving abilities. But I have heard a ton of crap that tries to do this and does it not well. This does what it's trying to do, which I assume is be relaxed bass replay. But bass that is getting out of the fucking way before the rest of the band is coming in. The vocals are not as affected as it might look, and the instruments at the top end are fine, and this peak later gives a slight sense of more air than you might expect from something with that bass hump. And look at that bass hump and remember it, look later. This is almost usually coming out here more, and that just causes problems. Bass is not a problem. How far that bass extends out towards the mids is what the problem is. And Lee did the best job he's done since I've known him. This is a good set. I wreck it 7 minutes in. I'll put the name in the title because I honestly don't know. I don't know specs or anything. This is a good set though. I like it. I was surprised. I thought I was going to put this on the back burner and do a review, and within a couple weeks I got other stuff that's already come in, but this sounds nice. I imagined what it sounded like in a graph because the bass was not bothering the vocals that much. The vocals were back, but they weren't being... Vocals being slightly back and vocals being overwhelmed by bass is not the same sound to your ear. And it didn't sound like it was being overwhelmed, or like the male voice was unnatural because it was elevated. The vocals sounded good, simply slightly back. And the basses sounded not booming, just more forward in the mix. And what does that look like on a graph? Check it out. Yeah, that makes sense. That's not surprising me. Good job, very nicely. And I'll be putting this video up now. If you can pick up the rain, I don't know what to tell you. My mic sucked so bad you could barely hear me, and now it's picking up everything around me, including the heater I forgot to turn off. So fuck, it's cold. Sorry about that. And I'm out.